let's love one another. Love is a gift, the blessing of God. Love one another, sisters and brothers. Love is a gift of God.
Friends, it's good to send you another message. I still haven't been able to see most of you, but you get to see me, so that's a good place to start. Happy Holy Week. Do you know what Holy Week is? Holy Week is the week actually, that leads up to Easter. So Easter Sunday is this Sunday, and so this week before Easter is what we call Holy Week. Why is it holy? It's holy because we tell the last days of Jesus's life, and we spend some time in the stories in the Gospels about those last days. So you know those stories. You know a lot of those stories. The story about Jesus and the Last Supper, which is the story we tell when we do communion every week, happens on the Thursday of Holy Week. So we retell that story on Thursday. We tell the story of the trial that Jesus was in and of the last things that happened in the last day of his life on Friday. And then we wait on Saturday until the Easter story comes on Sunday when we tell about the resurrection. But before we get ahead of ourselves, I want to just check in with you and see if you're doing your Lenten devotional. We put together, and I sent them out also electronically to your parents. We put together the Love Builds Up devotional for Lenten this year. And our Lenten study, there's been a lesson each week. We haven't really had a chance to share whether or not you've been doing those activities as a family, so I'm checking in. We're at the very end. It's not too late to pick it up and do your pieces for this week. This week, you'll see that during Holy Week, it asks you to think about purpose and suffering. They're kind of heavy. This of the year, this week of the year, is a little more serious than the rest of our time at church because the stories are difficult. The stories of this week of Holy Week are often about ritual. So ritual is something that we do that has layers of meaning. So communion is a ritual. It's about more than just breaking a loaf of bread in half or pouring grape juice into a cup. We think that those actions have symbols. They're symbols and they carry meaning, and so they're ritual. We do them the same way each time. And tradition. So we have family traditions, things that maybe you do in your families that are your own tradition. Like in my family, a tradition would be the kids got to open one present on Christmas Eve. That's a tradition. It doesn't say that in the Bible. It doesn't say that in any other fancy book. It's just something my family did. So maybe you have traditions for Easter or for Holy Week. So when I was growing up on Holy Week, my family would only eat fish on Fridays before Easter, a way to think about connecting with the suffering of Jesus, to sacrifice, to give something up. That's what sacrifice means, to give something up that we usually do. So we didn't eat fish a lot, and so we were giving up the practice of eating meat on the Friday, and we would eat fish or just eat vegetarian before Easter. We had other traditions, like sometimes my Aunt Mary would hide Easter eggs for us, and we would go on an Easter egg hunt. Maybe that's a tradition your family has too, an Easter egg hunt. So this week is all about tradition and ritual, as we also try to think about more serious topics like purpose or suffering. There's some good suggestions in your devotional about what to do as we think about the Thursday and the Friday before Easter. To think about, what do you think Jesus's purpose in life was? Sometimes it's easy to confuse purpose with what do you want to be when you grow up? And sometimes they're connected, but sometimes they're not. What do you think Jesus' purpose in life was? I wish I could be there to hear your answers. Because the next question is, what do you think your purpose in life is? These are good conversations to have with your family. And then to think about the ways that we hurt or that we suffer. Jesus suffers and hurts a lot at the end of his life. And it's a way for us to connect to Jesus because there are times in our life where we suffer or feel pain or hurt or loss. And the story of Jesus reminds us that God is never far from us, even when we're in pain and we're suffering. So for this week, as you get ready for Easter, think about the big, heavy things, and also think about your traditions and your rituals. And I'll put a link and some more information in the email to your parents about how we might get to check in by video meeting next week after Easter. And I would love to hear when we talk next week about what you think your purpose in life is. What are some of your favorite traditions and rituals as a family at this time of year? And maybe some of the ways that you're suffering and feeling pain too. Because when we talk about those things together, somehow they're not as heavy. So for now, know that I love you and I send prayers, and I hope you get some sunshine. Bye.